Hello everyone! So we've had a look at Kislev and Siege, and today it's Cathay's turn. So let's take a look at the units Cathay gets in Shadow of Change. And it looks like someone collected all the Dragon Balls, because their legendary lord, Yuan Bo, the Jade Dragon, looks a lot like Shenron from Dragon Ball when transformed. But he's a great duelist lord with great stats, both as human and dragon, and he's the Dragon Emperor's executioner, so he's got an ability to deal some significant damage to a lord or hero, and if they are below 20%, they just die. And on top of that, he also has an ability called Executioner, which allows him to kill units with 20% or lower health by just attacking. So both of these abilities are obviously pretty strong, but you have to get that unit down to 20% health. So he also has the ability Dragon's Fang, which buffs his attack and damage by almost double, which is a great way to get someone into Executioner range. So with those abilities combined, Yuan Bo can just delete units. But if that wasn't enough for you, he's of course a caster, with Yin and Yang magic for Jade Shield, Blossoming Winds and Talons of the Night, some light magic for Burning Gaze and Net, and Comet of Cassandora from Lore of Heaven to top it off. So he can kinda do it all, because he's a great fighter and caster as a human, and a terrifying monster as a dragon, plus he can still drop Comets of Cassandora on people as a dragon. They also get a new generic lord, the Celestial General, and he's a pretty good fighter with a high attack and decent damage, with magical attacks and high AP, but pretty mediocre defenses. So he's a decent duelist that can dish out damage pretty well, and he also got some abilities with Lord of Cathay, which buffs allies with melee defense and physical resistance, and it doesn't last very long, but it will drastically reduce incoming damage in melee fights while it lasts. And he also has Celestial Sweep, which is a little vortex where he does a fancy attack and swings his hammer around for some pretty good damage in a very short burst. And Cathay got a lot of single entity units in this DLC. The only multi-entity unit that isn't a regiment of renown is the Onyx Crowman. And they're a very good flying harass unit because they're very fast flyers, so they can get into backline units pretty easily, and they got pretty good stats, so they can kill squishier units like archers and artillery pretty fast. They're kinda squishy though, so you wanna get away before cav or infantry comes to support. But while they are pretty good harassers, they can also be used pretty effectively to defend against other flying harassers. Because Cathay generally likes playing in a defensive, range-heavy formation with a lot of artillery and archers, so they can be weak to mobile harass units. So these guys can be used to defend against that without having to access the tier 5 Longma Riders. And next they got kind of a pair of units, the Stone Lions. And they got one in Jade and one in Jet, and they're kind of opposites and they work very well together. Because the Jade Lion is a Yin unit and the Jet is a Yang unit. So if you got one of each running around together, they will get harmony. And they're both pretty fast and deadly single entity monsters with good stats and great AP, but Jade has more attack and lower defense, while Jet is more defensive with lower attack. So they can do some good work flanking and hunting some high value targets, or just help out in frontline engagement, and the Jet one is especially good there since he will give harmony to infantry units. And even though they're giant stone lions, they manage to be really cute cats, because some of their attack animations seems to be styled after house cats playing, and it's kind of adorable. They also have some opposite utility. The Jade Lion makes enemies flammable, it has a bound breath attack to capitalize on that, and a passive power recharge so it buffs your magic a bit. While the Jet Lion has disrupted on attack, which lowers physical resistance and makes casters miscast. It also has bound missile mirror, and it gives spell resistance to allies in range, so it can protect your units against magic and missiles. And their final unit is the Zangu War Drum. And it's kind of a disappointing first impression, because it doesn't seem like it has a lot of animation. They barely even hit the drum. But besides that, it's a pretty decent unit actually, because it gives nearby unit both Yin and Yang, so you can put it by archers or frontline to ensure that they're all getting their harmony. But it also amplifies harmony, so it's better than having Yin and Yang units close by. So it's great if you want to do mostly range or melee armies, or just get stronger harmony. But it also brings some of its own buffs, like Icon of Great Cities, which gives leadership in range, although besides peasants, leadership isn't exactly what Cathay is lacking if you have harmony, but it's nice to have. And it also has two activatable auras, with Bastion of the Great Cities, which gives a good amount of armor, and Disdain of the Dragon Emperor, which gives attack and immune to psychology. But you can only have one of these active at a time. So it brings some really strong buffs to your armies, and if you want to go without melee or range, it can enable some of those strategies pretty well. But they should really add some animations, because right now it looks kinda cheap. And just like the other factions, they got 3 regiments of renown. First, the Empress Crowman, which has some Nan-Gao grenades which are really strong. You just position them over some tightly packed infantry units and let loose the bombs and watch them melt. And it's just really satisfying getting a good hit with them. They also got the Grace of Jin, which are celestial crossbowmen, and they are a really powerful range unit that can debuff enemy units with Mark of Jin, which lowers missile resistance, missile block chance and armor, so basically it strips all of their defenses away from range units, so it's a great way to just annihilate some hard to kill units. But it's not even necessarily that big a deal for these guys since they already have pretty good AP, but you can use it on something that peasant archers are shooting at, which will make a huge difference for them. And their last unit is the Jade War Drum, and it's pretty much the same as the other drum, except it has a third buff which gives speed and magical attacks. So it's pretty good if you're fighting demons or something with physical resistance, which is very nice to have if you need it, but if you don't need it, it's just the same as the other war drum. But that's all the Cathay units, and I don't think they got the most interesting units in this DLC, at least not compared to the other factions, and some could use some extra work. But they fill some holes in the rosters, and they're pretty alright. But that's all for now. What do you think of the new units, and which faction do you think got the best ones? So thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.